And Republicans will always protect Americans with pre-existing conditions. We protect you. Pre-existing conditions.
That was President Trump last night in Houston, pushing his message ahead of midterms to blunt Democratic attacks on the GOP for trying to strip away protections. But let's dig into pre-existing conditions and health coverage in the United States in recent years. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, more than 52 million non-elderly Americans suffer from a pre-existing condition. 52 million, for which they could have been denied health care before the Affordable Care Act went into effect. It's important to remember what counts as a pre-existing condition. Diabetes, heart disease, genetic diseases like muscular dystrophy, epilepsy, cancer, mental illness, and there are many more. Joining me now, NBC News political reporter and fact checker Jane Tim. Her latest article up now on NBCnews.com goes into all of this. Jane, this is crucial because this is at the basis of what Obamacare was. People seem to have forgotten. They've got amnesia about what life was like before Obamacare if you had a pre-existing condition. President Trump says this: we totally support people with pre-existing conditions. How does that stack up to your research?
It doesn't stack up, Ali. We see the Justice Department, Trump's lawyers down in Texas arguing that the coverage and the insurance that these people will get through protections of pre-existing conditions through Obamacare, that's illegal. And if they succeed in that lawsuit, these protections are toast.
They're gone, right. And remember, again, it's insurance companies that insure you, and that's part of the problem. Also, there's another claim. Republicans will also protect patients with pre-existing conditions. Similar problem?
Absolutely. Republicans say that they support the idea of keeping people with pre-existing conditions covered. But what Obamacare did was make sure that you could get coverage, and you could get coverage at the same rate as a healthy person through insurance companies, by saying you really couldn't take into account the person's health when you were giving them a plan, either denying them coverage or just charging them so it's so unaffordable you can't even get the coverage.
Which was possible, by the way. You could always get some insurance policy depending on what you had, but the policy cost would be greater than the cost of your health care.
It could cost $20,000, it could cost $30,000.
Right.
So when you take the health out of the equation, people can actually get affordable health care.
Right.
And Republicans, the plans that they have said are a better replacement for Obamacare, they weaken these protections. They say, you know what, you can get access to that care, but you might not actually get coverage for your pre-existing condition. That's a bill we see on Capitol Hill now. The Republicans say would keep people with pre-existing conditions getting care, and they would get care, but you might see a cancer patient who buys a plan, the only plan they can get and afford, that doesn't cover cancer coverage.
So for instance, if I were completely healthy and determined to be completely healthy and went for insurance, I could probably pay less for my insurance because it doesn't have to cover anything that they know is already wrong with me.
Absolutely.
All right. So sometimes President Trump just says these things and lets it go. But in this speech, he mentioned it a few times. He also said on pre-existing conditions, a lot of people think it's not a very Republican thing to do. It is now. What do you make of that?
You know, this is the richest claim of them all, that when you have the Justice Department in Texas fighting that these things are illegal, when you have Republicans who have voted dozens and dozens of times to get rid of Obamacare, when their legislation they propose weakens these protections, it's a really rich one to accept that they are more the party of protecting pre-existing protections than Democrats, who have consistently campaigned to keep these protections and are the ones who put Obamacare on the books. Right.
There may be lots of problems with Obamacare, and you might have lots of beef with people who promoted it, but that was actually at the center of it.
It's pretty hard to think that Republicans are the party of saving health care and saving Obamacare as it is, when you remember Ted Cruz talking for 21 hours about, and reading green eggs and ham on the Senate floor, about just how much he hates Obamacare.
Yeah. All right, Jane, thanks very much for your fact-checking. Jane Tim. Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.